Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 most chilling, real-life serial killers in American history. In this video, numbers 5 through 1. Number 5. Dennis Rader, the BTK killer.
Got her a glass of water, comforted her a little bit, and then I went ahead and tied her up, and then put a bag over her head and strangled her.
On the exterior, Rader's life was normal. He was married, had kids, and held down steady jobs. However, in 1974, the BTK, or Bind, Torture, Kill killer, began murdering people in Kansas by various means. Shortly thereafter, he taunted authorities with letters that described his crimes. Rader's last known murder was in 1991, and over a decade later, the case went cold with no suspect. However, in 2004, BTK resumed communications and made a number of mistakes that got him caught. Rader was sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences with no possibility for parole for 175 years. Number 4. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer.
Guilty.
He proved you can get away with murder. For a while. Ridgway was violent in his youth. At age 16, he stabbed a 6-year-old who survived. He eventually began frequenting prostitutes despite unwavering religious beliefs. In fact, many of his murder victims from the 80s and 90s were prostitutes or runaways whom he picked up, had sex with, strangled, then dumped near the Green River. After being suspected and cleared early in the investigation, Ridgway was finally arrested in 2001. He then confessed to 71 unconfirmed murders and was sentenced to 48 consecutive life terms in 2003. Number 3. Ed Gein, the Plainfield Ghoul or the Mad Butcher. This Wisconsin native inspired not one but 3 of the most famous movie killers. The effeminate Gein grew up with a deep attachment to his abusive mother, and he eventually decided he wanted to become a woman. Only 3 murders were actually attributed to him, but he was terrifying because he robbed graves and murdered in order to form a woman suit he could wear. When authorities searched his house after his capture, they found paraphernalia made of human body parts littering his home. Gein died of cancer while incarcerated for 1 murder in a mental institution in 1984. Number 2. John Wayne Gacy, the Killer Clown. Gacy is why we're all afraid of clowns. This seemingly upstanding citizen dressed up as Pogo the Clown for local children's parties. However, behind the scenes, he molested teens who worked for him, in addition to other crimes. He spent 18 months in jail for sodomy before he moved and continued assaulting young boys. The murders began in 1972. He mostly assaulted, then strangled employees of his landscaping company and other male youths, then buried them around his house. He was finally arrested at the end of 1978 and was convicted of 33 murders 2 years later. Gacy was executed by lethal injection in 1994.
What was your initial emotional response?
Just to throw him down the crawl space. Get rid of him. Even once you bury somebody, it was already gone.
Number 1. Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal, the Milwaukee Monster.
I knew I was sick or evil or both. Now I believe I was sick.
Dahmer first became known to police as a registered sex offender. However, the murders began in 1978. Dahmer often picked up his male victims in gay bars and had sex with them before drugging and killing them. When the police finally searched his apartment, they found decomposing corpses and body parts, as well as photos of his victims in various states of torture. Dahmer is also said to have engaged in both necrophilia and cannibalism. In 1992, he was sentenced to 15 life terms, but he was beaten to death by a fellow inmate 2 years into his term. Because of the disturbing nature of his crimes and his outwardly articulate and calm demeanor, Jeffrey Dahmer is the worst serial killer of all time.
I should have stayed with God. I tried and failed and created a Holocaust.